Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Chats with Children. Happy New Year. I hope you had a wonderful festive break. I'm delighted to be catching up with my good friends from the Society of Laboratory Automation and Screening, or SLAS, or SLAS, depending on how you want to pronounce it. And I'm today joined by Amy Wilkinson, who's the Director of Global Events and Corporate Partnerships, and Lesley Granberg, who's the Scientific Director at SLAS, stroke slash. I just want to keep everybody happy, so I'll say both. Who are going to preview the upcoming SLAS 2025 annual conference and exhibition, which is coming up very, very fast. So these ladies have taken some time out to talk to me about the show because it actually runs on January the 25th, 29th in San Diego at the San Diego Convention Center. So first of all, Amy, Lesley, it's lovely to see you both. Happy New Year again. How are you both?
Great.
Wonderful. Thanks for having us. I love your jersey. It's very apropos to our conversation today, San Diego.
Well, why do you think I put it up on my door?
Oh, I see
it. Just like I had a Bruins jersey last year when we talked about Boston, if Lesley remembers.
I remember.
Right. So anyway, look, it's lovely to see you both. Let's talk about SLAS 2025. But before we do that, for people not familiar with the organization, could you give me a quick overview of who SLAS are and what you do and what your mission is?
Sure. So we really are a global community of researchers, exhibitors, vendors that have a mission and have a insight into laboratory automation and screening. So our educational missions, our content that we derive from all of the different modalities that we deliver, such as our conferences, our short courses, are really geared around educating and implementing innovation around automation specifically and how it relates to different industries such as drug discovery, agriculture, diagnostics. And that's something we'll talk about today, is how we're expanding into these different modalities and these different fields outside of traditional drug discovery.
Brilliant. And how do you impart that information knowledge then to your members?
A lot of what we do is educational in content and nature through our podium talks at our conferences, but we also offer short courses during our large conferences, the international conference in particular. And modalities by which we deliver online include technology idea exchanges, or TIEs. That's one way that we're able to reach the community broader at large.
Fantastic. Now, one question I will ask people who are watching this, maybe from a global audience, how global is SLAS in terms of its membership? And, you know, is it more North American focused, is it European? I mean, what is the sort of reach that you're looking for?
We really do have a global reach, if you will, across, the United States and our European and Asian communities. Right now, we do have an initiative to expand, especially within the context of our European communities in certain sectors. Amy, do you have anything to add with our global presence as far as from our exhibitors or our vendor communities as well?
Yeah, I think most of our members and most of our delegates and attendees that come to the SLAS 2025 International Conference are coming from the U.S. It's about an 80-20 split between U.S. and the rest of the world, and then that 20% is split about 15% Europe and 5% Asia. Now, that doesn't mean that there's not diversity of culture and ethnicity within that U.S.-based group of community members. But as Lesley mentioned, we have a strategic initiative that we have been working on for the last couple of years to grow our non-US, our rest of world community, not just through attendance at our two conferences, our US conference and our Europe conference, but within our community. This is researchers that are engaging with each other through SLAS means year-round.
Fantastic. Now let's talk about the annual conference and exhibition, because it has been going for quite a few years. It is a huge event. But for people who've never been to the event, maybe Amy, you want to do this, is just give us a quick overview of the event itself, a little bit about the history, how long it's been going for, what topics it normally covers, the sort of people who attend, who exhibits, and what's the normal format, because every event is slightly different. So you give people a feel for what they can normally expect if they come to an SLAS annual conference and exhibition.
Yeah, you betcha. So this is our 14th iteration of the International Conference and Exhibition, and it is our 7th time hosting in the city of San Diego. So San Diego is a very, very well-established venue and city partner for this conference, and we really, really are excited to go back to San Diego and engage our West Coast and California local community for this event. We are in a rotation right now where we're going at least through 2030 between San Diego and Boston. So we found a home in that rotation. We're finally settled into that now post-pandemic, which is really, really great, gives us some continuity. And as for the event itself, it's a big one. There is a lot going on at the same time. It's 5 days total. So we start with 2 days of scientific short courses, and those short courses are both half-day, full-day lecture and hands-on courses, wide range of topics that are super, super exciting, and small learning groups. So these are groups of learners that are gathered together specifically to take away knowledge on a very specific topic that they can bring back to their lab and to their colleagues and share that knowledge with them. And so that's Saturday and Sunday. And then Monday through Wednesday is our conference and our exhibition. We have scientific content that runs all 3 of those days. We have keynote content that runs Monday and Wednesday. So we bookend the start and end of our scientific conference with 2 pretty major keynotes. And then we have a massive exhibition, and massive in the best way. I know there are bigger exhibitions out there, but this exhibition is our biggest ever. We have 410 exhibitors, which is larger than any exhibition we've presented prior, and over 120 of those are exhibitors that were not with us in Boston last year. So they are exhibitors that are new to this event and are excited to engage with the SLAS community, and this is the largest floor we've ever had. So we serve breakfast and lunch to everybody every day, and then we have receptions available to everybody every day, and we also have a lot of fun stuff. We have a party at the USS Midway that's going to be super, super awesome. I don't want to give away everything, but there's Tom Cruise impersonator, and it's going to be pretty fun. And that's sponsored by our premier sponsor, Hamilton. We have a gaming night planned in our exhibition as one of our reception themes. We have an ode to Hamburg, which is where our Europe conference and exhibition is going to be. We have a community give back project where in our exhibition, we're working with a company called Clean the World for our attendees and our exhibitors to compile comfort and hygiene kits that will then be donated to local San Diego charities who are in need. And we've got a lot of career content. So we have career counseling sessions, we have recruiter hours, we have member meetups where we've got targeted groups of sit downs where individuals on things like sample management, or I'm coming here from Asia, or I'm from the Nordic countries, or these small community segments, whether it's topically based, regionally based, or some other community thread that draws people together, they'll be able to sit down and eat together. And then the one other thing that is really important is our conference app. We've got a new mechanism in our app where individuals can connect with each other through the app, and they can actually set appointments with each other at dedicated times and dedicated spaces. So make sure that the event is really big. We're talking about 75 to 7,700 individuals. It can be difficult to just run into somebody. So this allows the ability with a little bit more intention to set up meetings with people.
Fantastic. And in terms of the people who attend, though, what sort of job titles, job functions are the target audience really as attendees for you?
Yes, and thank you for following up. I got really excited about all the fun
I know. That's why I didn't stop you. I'll let you go.
All the hard work that goes into it. We want to make sure we communicate all that's going on.
I know.
Well, in the end, we want people to have fun and we want people to be inspired, right? That's the goal, really, coming away from the conference. So our attendees are typically in primary research. So these are individuals that are that are working in a lab or running a group that is working in a lab. And then on the exhibitor side, our exhibition is a little bit unique, where our exhibit booths, they of course have their sales and their marketing staff, but they have technical staff and scientific leads within their booth. This is a very, very technology heavy and automation heavy floor. So we see a lot of our exhibitors engaging in our content mechanisms as well. And then the other piece is the student representation and the representation from academia. We really love to welcome students to this event. We offer a lot of free mechanisms for students to participate. And then we offer a lot of networking opportunities geared directly towards students once they get there. So we typically see, around 200 or so student registrants that come to the event as well.
Fantastic. Now, Lesley, I'm going to
Yes.
give you a chance now to talk. So tell us more about the scientific program then that you've got running this year, and what are some of the new topics that you're covering and ways you're going to sort of present that information at the show this year.
So I'm particularly excited about some of our new track offerings, in particular, the screening applications and biomarkers. So we're really trying to look at the diagnostic side, the screening applications of diagnostics, and trying to understand where diagnostics fits within our community per se. So we actually implemented this in our European meeting as one of the tracks to push forward for new content, and it was really well received. We had a number of abstracts that were submitted from that field, and so we wanted to carry that in through our international meeting. So keep an eye on that. Kim Durans from Veda Bio is one of the track chairs. She has a background in diagnostics, working at QIAGEN and now at Veda. So I would definitely, if you're interested in that field and interested in clinical diagnostics and where biomarker diagnostics is headed, and checking that out. The other aspect that we listen to feedback from our Knowledge Content Delivery Council and our community at large is understanding not only omics and functional omics, but spatial omics.
Sure.
And when people think about what spatial omics or spatial transcriptomics really means, is you think of omics and you think of getting a genetic profile of a tumor all mushed up into a sample. Well, what spatial omics and spatial profiling does, and I learned this from work done at the Broad Institute, is you can actually take a piece of tissue, right? Put it on a slide, stain it, and do the functional omics in the context of, say, the brain or the tumor or whatever functional tissue you're looking at. So we've implemented that into our tracks to be able to expand upon omics and how the screening world is really adapting their technologies towards setting up automation for this advanced staining, processing, and procedures that go along with it. So I'm particularly excited about those two new content areas within our tracks for our podium presentations. Particularly for our keynotes. The keynotes are always a great highlight, right, of the talks and being able to kick off both the beginning and end of the meeting. We're going to be looking at some topics that might be a little bit controversial in terms of racial health disparities. And so understanding what it means to really work within the confines of sickle cell anemia. Amar is going to talk about the context of his research and what he's done and how he's helped basically push forward genetic tools to help, I don't want to say cure, but we've come a long way with sickle cell anemia and that population that suffers from that disease. And Jesse's going to round it out more with, closing in the context of more of a collaborative nature talk. Collaboration and integration, you'll see, are key themes throughout the meeting this year, in addition to curiosity. But I really am excited about understanding where breakthrough cancer can take us.
That's fantastic. And I should have asked you, what are some of the core topics though that you would normally have tracks on as well at the event?
Yeah, so we're always going to have our screening, our automation, our applications of those applications of automation and screening core to our tracks. Really, Jen Smith has done an amazing job with Scott Martin in pushing forward the traditional kind of tracks that are the automation and screening tracks, looking at assays and technologies coming down the pipeline from their work at Harvard and now Amgen. Other tracks that are very invigorating, I would say, and really pull people in are those omics tracks. We're really seeing a lot with the functional genomics and functional omics coming down in addition to the spatial omics. And, you know, what I would say for those that are interested, there are a lot of parallel things that are going on. And so like Amy was saying is, you know, take a look at that the app to be able to say, okay, this is going on during the automation and screening. This is going on during the biomarkers and diagnostics. Where can I align and see which makes sense for me to go to based on what my questions are for my field of interest right now. But you know, you'll see we have many track offerings. So really plan your days accordingly.
Well, that leads on to an interesting question, actually, as you said that, is that obviously when it wasn't a live show and you were doing everything digitally, everything was available on demand after the events because everything was recorded. You've just put up a very good point that when you have a show with so much great content as you have, and everyone can't go to everything that they'd like to see, are you going to make any content available post-event that people can actually get hold of?
We are not doing live streaming. Yeah,
Not
of the
live streaming.
event.
I mean,
Yeah,
more on demand or after the show, or
yeah,
content that might be able to be available to people after the show.
yeah.
We
Unfortunately,
are
we're
not. So right
not.
now, our conferences are in-person events only. However, SLAS has a host of offerings that are online that are often tied to our conferences, whether
Good
it's
point.
the same speaker or the same participants that are, you know, leading a topical interest group that is taking place online. There's a lot of tie-ins there. Now, that said, a couple of key things that are available for takeaway. The first is our exhibition floor and contact and interaction with our exhibitors. You do not need to be a registered attendee to access that app and to take a look at our exhibition floor and to reach out to our exhibitor community. You can see all of the tools and resources that they have provided in their exhibitor profile, and you can bring those things away and follow up with them afterwards if you're not able to get to every single booth, because there are a lot of booths on the floor.
Sure.
The other big piece that is available for takeaway and that always lives on our website is our poster gallery. And those are the posters at SLAS are a really, really critical component of our learning and education mission and vision that we deliver through this conference. We're going to have, I believe, Lesley, it's over 400 scientific posters at this conference. Our poster program is constantly growing. And one thing that is really, really cool about our poster program is it is a true mix of the SLAS community and what our attendee delegation looks like. We have established industry scientific researchers that are presenting posters. We have students and postdocs that are presenting posters. We have researchers from academia that are presenting posters. And then we have researchers from our exhibitor companies that are presenting posters. So that piece is available for takeaway. But just to be very explicit, our content and our podium presentations are not.
No, that's fine. Well, look, obviously it's a matter of resources and time as well, so I understand that completely. No, but thank you so much about the posters. I was going to mention it to Lesley, and I clean forgot. That other thought came into my head. Now, you obviously said a lot about what's going on, Amy, at the event. On the show floor, because I know historically you've had Innovation Avenue and various other awards going on at the exhibition. So this year, what are some of the exciting things, apart from what you've already mentioned, going on the exhibition floor?
Yeah.
So what's next? Well, I'm glad you said that. So I've been looking at I've been looking at it going, what is Nexus XP? Why is it above your head on the So what is Nexus XP and what's that all about then?
So Nexus XP is really our foray into our look at what we're understanding for the lab of the future, or the future lab planning that is automation and screening, but within the context really of integration and collaboration. And so what we are finding is, you know, being an educator myself and having been a teacher and working in the field of education, you know, passive learning it's kind of becoming a little bit more challenging for different modalities to learn that way. So active learning and active participation in gathering information from content has really become a new mainstream way of understanding new material. So what Nexus is it's really an integrative experience, an educative experience that will help you understand how to work and collaborate with your community at large, whether it's vendors, whether it's other academics, whether it's participants in your field that are working on integration. And specifically with regards to understanding how we work together. And so talking and being part of and being immersed in this experience will really be, I think, one of our more forward-looking ways of delivering education. I can get into more details of the design of the hub a little bit more, and then maybe talk a little bit about the vendors that we do have participating in the hub. So for Nexus, the idea that came through when we were working with our content curators at NIH NCATS, who actually are Carlene Klump-Thomas and the former Sam Michael, who's now moved on to GlaxoSmithKline. I can say that now because he's moved on. But they have really helped us understand that a theme of integration and collaboration within this hub is the design, make, test, analyze cycle. So that's going to be a big theme that you'll see harnessed within the hub. And each of the showcases that are being presented within this hub are around that theme. And so we have vendors showcasing from design, vendors showcasing from analyze, vendors, if you follow kind of the circle that is the cycle, you'll be able to see that. And we actually have participants who do have booths within the normal kind of trade show area, the exhibition area, but they've opted to be part of this more immersive experience to be able to educate about what they're doing with integration. So High-Res Bio, Versidian, working with, vendors like Waters to be able to tell these integrative stories and how they're coming through.
Fantastic. That's really, really good. Now, is there anything else highlighted or not highlighted so far that you want to let viewers know are going on at the show this year? Or have you covered everything? I'm sure you've missed some things out, but it's such a big show. You've got so much going on. I'm sure.
There's so much. It's so exciting. The one thing I think I do want to make sure that we highlight is, two things actually. One is our topical interest groups. So this is not necessarily scientific content. It's more collaborative content that exists within the conference schedule. And these are focused meetups of individuals that are working on similar projects or in similar areas that are really specific to their experience in their lab. And it gives them an opportunity to connect outside of the scientific program, which is a more lecture style program, and really get together and share a specific experience on, say, sample management or research in academia or young professionals, things like that. So I would definitely take a look at those. And the other thing I want to make sure that people understand is that there are registration discounts available still. We know and we understand that things are tight right now, and we're entering a new budget year, and the market has been quite volatile. But our rack rates on registration are still discounted until January 23rd. If you have a friend on the program committee or a friend that has helped us to organize this conference, reach out to them, because they have codes available that they can distribute at large to their friends. And then I would absolutely encourage people to browse our exhibitor list. And if you have collaborators and partners that are part of our exhibition show floor, reach out to them, because they have the ability to invite people as well. So there are a lot of opportunities to help kind of release some of that heavy financial burden of attending a conference. We know it's expensive and it's difficult sometimes.
Can I just say one thing, actually, hearing you say that, Amy? I interview a lot of people about their events, and you're the first one ever I've interviewed who's actually pointed out you can get free tickets if you know the right person and how to go about it. So all credit to you to show that SLAS is not about making money out of the delegates. It's about getting people to come. So well done. So well done on saying that. So look, final thing then. Same question to both of you. You might have slightly different ways of saying it, so it's quite good to ask you both. if someone is still undecided, having heard you two tell how wonderful the event is, Amy, you first. Why should people attend SLAS 2025? Now I'm going to say SLAS 25 to you, actually. Why are people going to attend SLAS
That's fine.
25 in San Diego in 3 weeks' time?
Come to be inspired. That is ultimately what we want from this conference. Come to be inspired, come to be energized, come to have fun, and come to connect. This event is about community, and in the end, that community goes back, you know, it's rooted in the people that make up that community. So you don't want to miss that. You don't want to miss it.
And Lesley, why should people come to SLAS 2025?
You know, a lot of what I've heard today and what we've worked on for preparing from the conference is, you know, resonating with what Amy said about community. And so I was a member and an attendee, you know, prior to being an employee. And so I definitely had immersed myself in the network that is SLAS and the community that is SLAS. Not only do you make connections with others you might not have the opportunity to make those connections with, but they are long-standing connections. Some of the connections that I've made have turned out to be my mentors and my, you know, my mentees that I work with throughout my career. So it's really an opportunity to not just learn and look at innovation, but also to humanize being a scientist and be able to have that human connection. The other thing is, you know, our short course offerings this year are quite good. And I have to say, if you're looking, you know, to, especially at your, you know, depending at your level, if you're looking to learn more about Nexus and lab integration, if you're looking to understand more about Python and coding and how that can be implemented into your work streams, check out those short courses, because at all levels, that's where, you know, a lot of those foundational networking and community starts, is in those small rooms together, solving problems and trying to figure out what it means to advance the field. We have, and the other thing is just seeing people succeed and seeing their successes. So from our Innovation Award programs to our Ignite finalists to our Travel Award winners and our student poster presenters, it's really a sense of, you know, educating next generation scientists and being able to see what these new products and these new emerging technologies are, kind of housing, you know, what I was trying to get to the point of it being a community at large, per se. And it's where I meet up with people still, you know, still from my network, and they're still coming, you know, 14 years later, outside of, you know, their day-to-day jobs, because they know it's the place to go to be able to have those experiences.
Fantastic. Look, both of you, thank you very much. Now, I have to say, viewers, I've been very fortunate to be coming to SLS, not as long as Amy and Lesley, but for quite a few years now. And I have seen it grow steadily every year, pre-pandemic and post-pandemic. And I know the last 2 years in particular, in San Diego 2 years ago and in Boston last year, they grew quite substantially each year and were great events. So I'm really looking forward to this year's event. So hopefully we've convinced you, if you haven't already booked your ticket, to click on the link above the video and register. Please don't book your hotel and flight yet, because I haven't done mine yet, so don't sell everything out. I need to book mine. But hopefully I will see you with Amy and Lesley in San Diego on January the 25th to 29th. And hopefully we can talk all about automation. So Lesley, Amy, it's lovely to see you both. Genuinely, I know you've got loads of work to do, so I'm not going to keep you any longer, but it's been great to see you as always. And I look forward to catching up with you in person as well in a few weeks' time. And viewers, I thank you for watching as well. And I wish everybody who's watching a fantastic, happy, healthy, safe and successful 2025, and hopefully see you in San Diego. Until then, stay well. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks.